We're back. Oh, yeah. What a day. What a day. I got my Shelton pad. That's right. Shelton pad right here. Jimmy's in the chat. Drew's in the chat. We are back, Wart, including me wearing my libertarian hat. Do you want to know why? Because I'm the chair of the Libertarian Party of Marion County, and none of you motherfuckers are going to kick me out. Not yet, anyway. You're going to have to bring a whole freaking army, pal. And I'll tell you what, it is so funny watching everybody right now spur out about all the comments that either I have made, Ducky in the chat, let's go, that I have made, Indie Reporter has made. It has been a glorious time. And I want to point out something to all these lolberts right now, all these, what do they call, libertarians? Libertarians is what we call them, right? Sparrow in the chat, let's go. Yeah, it has been an interesting day. Now we can talk about the 14th Amendment and the what happened with SCOTUS today, but I want to point something out. Perfect with the last day of Pride Month. I know, right? Yeah, we're gaining it up today, Tyler. Brad in the chat, let's go. So you guys all heard about the birthright citizenship thing today. And it's so funny watching all the libertarians be like, this is right. We're constitutionalists. This is how it is. Like, it's so funny when you look at like an analogy of it, right? When you have all these orcs that are born in the Shire, like, I'm a hobbit now, right? Perfect example of what is going on here with the birthright citizenship. And of course, the libertarians are just like, oh, what's the big deal? You know, this is what the Constitution wrote. I'm going to show you a couple of examples too, because I want to make it a point right here. This guy is actually doing the meme. This is in Minneapolis right now. And he's surrounded a bunch of Somalians, probably doing some fraud. And he's just like, what am I doing here? I'm the only white guy here. Honestly, this looks like Chris Spangle right now. This looks like that fat piece of shit ginger Chris Spangle right now, where he kind of earns it. But he's literally doing the meme. It's like, at least I'm not a Nazi. It's fine. These are legal immigrants. Yeah. It's only a conspiracy theory right here. Oh, man. The memes are just like the most perfect thing that is the result of all this. Yeah, that's Chris Spangle right there. That's Dave Lundy and Chris Spangle if they had a gay child together. And, you know, same thing with here, going on and going forth. Here's what's really funny about all this stuff about the Constitution is that, well, Brad, I know, because is it because you're sitting on a couch, Brad? Is that why? So it's so funny because I was thinking to myself, you're going to call yourself an American, right? Because you have this piece of paper, just like if I were to go to China or Israel or Palestine, and then I get a piece of paper and I get to say, oh, I'm a Palestinian now. I'm an Israelite. I'm now Italian. Credit to be so true, Tommy. So true. I'm Chinese now. Now I can speak their language, right? Ching chong choppity chopsticks, right? That's what the deal is, right? Because that's how things work right now, Brad. And I was thinking about this while I was working on my garden after work today. Was these people want to call themselves Americans, but they don't want to be part of America. They just want the benefits of being an American, the welfare, the extra money, the health care, the schooling, anything that's paid off the backs of real Americans, true hard workers. That's what they want. They don't want any part of actually working for a living. And we see that happening in Europe and Ireland and all these different countries right now they hit to the front of the line of saying they're going to get a home, they're going to get welfare, they're going to get education. No, we have to make sure that we take care of the third worlders first. Yeah, libertarians just like to cry about rules. Clarity is kindness. Rules are abused. They need to, yeah. It has been so funny watching the libertarians spur out. And I tell you what, the only true based libertarians right now are in Marion County. Outside of Marion County, they're all flubbed, okay? That's why we're the based corner of the Libertarian Party. Because we understand what happens when you get third worlders into there. You don't see that stuff in Hendricks County or Hamilton. Well, now you're starting to see it in Hamilton County. You're seeing all these schools right now having to have extra money towards them because these children don't know how to speak English. That's what happens. But I do want to point something out, too. This was what was really cracking me up. So we had this fat piece of shit, Chris Spangle, earlier today. saying, oh, the Libertarian Party of Marion County, Stephen Whitmer is indie reporter. Yeah, you know what? I'll take credit for that. I am the acting voice, the acting face of indie reporter. Sure. Has a few thoughts about immigrants. Probably should keep those to yourself. And then, so I reply as Slick Whitty, oh, you're calling me out? You're calling me out? You're not going to tag me because you're a pussy coward? All right, that's fine. So I reply in there, cry about it more, fat boy. And what happens not long, within minutes, he deletes the entire post. That's what happens. That's the power of Whitty. As soon as I check in, as soon as we make eye contact, to go, oh boy, who is this suave looking brown guy right now? Who's the sweet and cute little guy? That's it. I'm going to curl into a ball because I'm such a pussy, and then I'm going to delete this post. That's what happens. I tell you what, Chris Spangle, Ginger Fat Boy, if you want to talk to me, I'm not hard to find. If you want to go to the next Marion County Libertarian meeting and have a discussion about it, you are more than open. You are more than happy to join. I am more than happy for you to hop in and we can have ourselves a chat face to face. But no, we both know you're a coward, you're a pussy, and you're not going to do anything. Just like the rest of you lowbirds. All right, moving on. Now, yeah. As you can see, he is an absolute shill for Eli Lilly too. Where it is, Indianapolis thriving partly due to the generosity of Eli Lilly, the Lilly Endowment, and the Eli Lilly Corporation. An absolute shill for Eli Lilly. Whatever. Yeah, you is right. This guy needs to be deported. That's all I know. However, my senator, best senator, king of the trust chart on the Senate side, Mike Young, he goes, Amy Coney Barrett, ACB, is the typical liberal Marxist law professor. 1, 2, or 3 bad decisions can be accounted for by being a human being. However, she doesn't even understand the issue at times that the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments were added to our Constitution. It was to protect our Black brothers and sisters and to ensure they are American citizens. There weren't any concerns at the time about Chinese nationalists or anyone else coming to this country and having children and making sure the kids were citizens of the United States. I think her and Chief Justice might be having a tryst. And this is based Mike Young. He understands what the situation was about. The whole SCOTUS ruling today was complete bullshit. We know about that. Thank you, Peppy. And he gets it. And, it's not like people at the time were like, okay, we're going to have these Somalians or these, Haitians, all right? Haitians or Somalians or the Sikh, the Burmese come here while they're pregnant, have a kid, then be designated as an American citizen and then come back. There was no thought of that back then, mostly because of travel. It's not like it was really easy to take a car over to the U.S. and have this whole thing accomplished. This is a modern situation right now. Yeah, the Italians. Yeah, listen, have you ever heard of the mob? They were the first. Them and the Irish. Hey, listen, I've seen, what's that movie with Leo DiCaprio? I forgot what it was. Gangs of New York. Yeah, that's right. Hey, everything I learned are from Gangs of New York. Polacks are based. Hey, the Polish are based. They understand. Dude, they got water cannons at the borders ready to clean these sons of bitches. And this is my point right here. I want to finish this off with my point. I know I go on a little rant, but this is an issue that I see in Wayne Township. This is one of the reasons why we lost our EMS. A third of the money, as far as I remember, I don't have any of my notes, were going to the hospitals because the people didn't have insurance, right? And we know who they are. We know what's going on in Wayne Township. Over 70 different languages being spoken in the Wayne Township schools right now. And they're bragging about it. Mind you, Jeff Butts was bragging about it. And now he's a lobbyist. But right here, Birthright Citizen Jail, our social circle in Massachusetts, included a guy married to a Honduran. Every time one of his wife's relatives is pregnant, she comes to stay with them. When it's time to deliver the baby, the relative Ubers to one of the most expensive hospitals in the world, Beth Israel. She gives birth, says the magic words to avoid ever receiving a bill. I'm undocumented. And after a few weeks, heads back to Honduras with the baby, birth certificate, and a U.S. passport. This one family has likely cost the taxpayers at least $300,000 in payments to the hospital for uncompensated care, and more than 10 U.S. citizens have been minted. This is what I'm talking about. This is the kind of stuff that the lowbirds love right now. They love these kind of scams. This is the kind of crap that Chris Spangle likes. He likes this whole welfare state. He loves the scams. He loves the fact that they can have an anchor baby. They can get all the benefits of being an American. And you're talking about they're still an illegal, by the way. The parents are, and then they can go work for some scab job, keep wages low, but yet we still have to fund their education and their health care. People like Chris Spangle and all the lowbirds that are loving this thing, they all need to be deported to the Congo. So right, when the kids are adults, they have automatic right to sponsor their parents for green cards. So eventually this one family will be responsible for perhaps 40 to 50 legal immigrants from Honduras to the U.S. And that's what's happening right now. You have all these young Burmese and the Sikh, and especially over by me, these Mexicans, that they're all, it was very obvious that they're anchor babies. And once they're 18, guess what? Now their parents can apply for a green card. You think they're going to be a tax-paying citizen? No. You know they're all going to be on welfare because that's exactly what they do. All right, let's get into the good stuff. Chinese don't like breadsticks. Brad to weakest chopsticks. Yeah. Yeah, what is Rubio doing right now? He's an outlier. The exception is not the rule. You should be deported, Brad. I'm gonna deport you to. You're gonna be my cupbearer. Brad's gonna be my cupbearer, and I'm going to install Elon Musk. What is it? The thing with the brain implant, and I'm just gonna play Constant Fish in there while you're bringing my cup of Moscow mules. That's what's gonna happen. And by the way, I wouldn't have a problem deporting Rubio either, or any of those people. I am a hard liner when it comes to that. All right, so anyway, let's talk about Greg Ballard, right? So Greg Ballard turned in over 74,000 signatures today, all over the place, mind you. Now, I will tell you what right now, 74,000 signatures, he needs 37,000 of them have to be verified. And I said from the beginning, is like, whatever that number is that has to be verified, he needs to get double of that. So congrats to him. He literally got double of it. Now, here's what's getting really interesting with the whole Greg Ballard situation. We all know what his plan is. This has nothing to do with him winning the Secretary of State. This has to do with the independents getting ballot access, so they don't have to get signatures anymore. I would just be happy if they would admit it, and I would be even happier if Rob called him out to it. Love Rob, obviously, and he understands it too. But I think he's just so heartbroken that he can't see it. You know, when you're like so full of rage on one thing, and then like everything else is kind of blurry to the situation. Like, I wish when Rob clears it all up, if we ever go dinner and dance again, I know he'll never invite me to dinner and dancing again, but if he ever does, then I will love to have this conversation with him. It's just like he understands what the situation is, what Ballard is trying to do. He's just trying to make it easier for everybody to get ballot access, so they can play Spoilermaker to close elections, so Democrats take over Indiana. We all know that because Ballard is a liberal. He is a non-Republican. Maybe he was a Republican in 2008, but in 2026, he's definitely a liberal. And I said it. There are a few things that what they're wearing would describe you as a liberal. Clear glasses, constantly wearing a vest. Do you think Rob will ever talk about Johnny Walrus? No, he definitely will not. He will 100% not. He doesn't want to ruin that relationship with Johnny Walrus at all. I don't know. I think so. Honestly, yeah. I think here's the thing about Rob, and we understand because I've been in the internet for long enough. It is the content game. It is really bad to have a slow news day in the content game, especially if you are a political pundit. Like, you need action all the time. You need crazy stuff happening all the time, so everybody will flock to you to get your opinion on it. Now, if Indie Reporter could go full time, believe me, I would have an opinion on it. At the same time, you don't need to spend 3 hours talking about subjects unless you have like 15-minute commercials, which I will never. By the way, if I ever do this full time, I will never have commercials. I also don't have to have a 3-hour show though. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Cassie gives the rinse content. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, people like Cassie. Yeah, that we need more psycho people. See, there's plenty of content. This is what kind of annoys me, but also annoys me, but it's still love about Rob is like there's so much content happening in Indianapolis that half his show could be the things that are happening in Indianapolis. But he would just rather focus on Republicans, which is fine. To each their own. But let me talk to you about this whole Ballard situation. So here's what's going on. Let me show it to you in my Shelton notepad, right? You have Ballard, right? You have Ballard. And then Ballard is getting money from the Hoosiers for Competitive Elections, the HCE, right? So they're getting money, right? And then they're giving it to Ballard. That's what's happening right now. So instead of money going to Ballard, they're going to the Hoosiers for Competitive Elections and then giving a crazy amount to Ballard. And this is and here's the thing. And I don't think it's anything nefarious, not yet anyway. But it is an easier way. It is a harder way for people like me to track campaign reports, because when you are running for Secretary of State, you have to have your report every quarter. So in like 2 weeks, they will have the next quarter report. So we'll be able to find out who has donated to Max. We'll be able to find out what Diego is spending his money on, especially with that whole Gotham thing. And we'll be able to see who has been giving money to Ballard. We don't have to worry about Lori Schilling because nobody's giving money to her. But since the Hoosiers for Competitive Elections is a committee /PAC, they only have to report during the pre-primary and the pre-election. So you have, unless they have a large contribution report, you don't know who the hell is giving them money. Yeah, y'all smash the like button is right. Wart. All right, so I want to point out, surprised you haven't started gooning about how impressive a Hoosier that Max is. Dude, man, I tell you what, my pants can only get so tight whenever I think about Max Engling. When I think about that suave-looking beard and that suave haircut, I'm just like, that's my guy, Max. Max, come wake me in my dream. Smother me with a pillow because I just can't take it anymore. I did that just for you, Brad. All right, just know that. Brad is my Will Stance, so we love Brad. Yeah, he is. Oh man, someone give me a Justin Timberlake song. I want to hum it right now while thinking about Max Engling. All right. So this is what I want to point out. When this is on. Okay, right here. So let's look at the Hoosiers for Competitive Elections real quick. This was the pre-primary report. They had $2,600 left in their coffers at the middle of April. This is the pre-primary. Don't forget. So since then, they've had a lot of large contributions. Greg Ballard has had a lot of large contributions from them. So when you add all these numbers together, it's close to $368,000, all right, from the Hoosiers for Competitive Elections. That is a lot of money when you think that they had at the end of their pre-primary report, $2,600. That means they are giving someone or a group of people are giving a ton of money to that committee /PAC. Now, there is one I want to point out, Elaine Bettel. And this has been my argument for a long time. For all of you guys out there that cry about establishments, and by the way, I am a guy who hates big money and elections. I will die on that hill. I don't care who it is. However, until there is a limit to it or a cap, it's never going to stop. So play ball, I guess, as they would say, as the umpire said. Go Cubs. So what I looked up was, who is Elaine Bettel? Well, Elaine Bettel is the secretary and CEO of the Indiana Destination Development Corporation. However, she was president of the IEDC from 2017 to 2019. Why am I bringing this up right now? Because of all the people that the independents cry about it being establishment or getting money for the establishment. Guess who's getting money from the establishment? Greg freaking Ballard. That's how much. How much again? What? $10,000. Yeah, $10,000 in a whim. Hold on, let me show you. Boop. Right there, $10,000. Getting 10,000, and then Greg Ballard loaned himself $10,000 as well. Did hide the address because I am a villain but not a monster, mind you. I will post the where this competitive election only because it's at like a building. It's a shared building with a bunch of people. It's like the that place that Rob was at. Yeah, exactly. And I was not a fan of that, Drew. I was not a fan of that at all. I think I even posted about it too on Facebook. It was like, oh great, more big money in elections, exactly what we need. Okay, so that was my point on Greg Ballard. The problem is like it doesn't really matter. Well, I don't know if I got all my tabs ready or not, honestly. Okay, so it doesn't really matter what Greg Ballard. I mean, it does, but I really want to know is who was giving money to the Hoosiers for competitive elections. It's very sneaky, by the way, and I'm going to make a post about it in the next couple of days. But I'm very annoyed because this is data that I need. But whatever. What annoys me the most is that no one's going to call out Ballard about it. Everybody's just going to be shilling for him. Listen, the local pundit radio is just as bad as the establishment radio. I'm the only based one who's willing to punch on all sides because that's just who I am. Also, tomorrow, I will not be able to go, but I was just reminded that Sarah Janice Brown from 6 to 10:30, she is having a Celebrate America's 250th birthday thing. Bring your own fireworks, BYOB, do whatever you want to do. I won't be able to go because I am going to a top secret meeting, and I will be busy. All right, moving on from this. Now we get to the fun stuff. We got done with the serious stuff. Let's go into the fun stuff. I have found a plethora of things that are happening in Indianapolis for the last year. There is a YouTube channel called Super Key they have a ton of videos of like the most dangerous hoods in Indianapolis. And this was one clip that I found, or one that I clipped, and it was just like these black kids, these juveniles going into a gas station and with their skibbity or whatever they're called, showing off their guns. It has been very amusing, to be honest with you. I have watched hours of this stuff. You should too. But speaking of Ballard, the Shiesties, yeah, thank you, skibbities, whatever. That's the toilet thing. But I did find Robbie Slaughter. I thought this was kind of funny. I was in Noblesville on Saturday getting pictures of downtown Noblesville and how much of a mess it is. It reminds me of Fountain Square, honestly. I should go to Fountain Square soon to see how bad it is. Funny enough, there's so many shit libs in Noblesville too, as you can tell by the cat meow license plate. And you have Robbie Slaughter. Funny enough, Robbie Slaughter ran as an independent in 2024 against Vicky Sparks, and then Lori Schillings was in that race as well. And Robbie Slaughter, as an independent, received more votes than Lori Schillings. So if the future tells us anything, the independents will get more votes than the libertarians. And looking at today's reactions from the Libertarian Party, I imagine that Lori Schillings is probably going to get slaughtered in the general election because nobody likes what the Libertarians are saying right now, especially in Indiana, except for Marion County. Anyway. All right. Music in Transit is back as well. These are the bands that are playing. I don't know why I think I'm just filling time. Oh, okay, no, yeah, we're going to talk about the Raise USA thing too. So Music in Transit is back. If you ever get bored, hop on YouTube, type in Music is Transit. It is 20 minutes of bands playing on Indigo buses. It is the absolute worst. I don't even know what I have on the docket right now. Also, can any of you in central Indiana understand what is going right now? Indianapolis ranked as 7th best major city in the U.S. And I think they're talking about the Indianapolis Metro, because they're not talking about Indianapolis itself. They're talking about like Fishers and Noblesville, and I think even Greenwood is on there. Nobody from Carmel or Noblesville is saying they live in the Indianapolis Metro. Absolute dopes. All right. So this is my favorite right now. I can't wait. Dude, I totally agree with Bilberry on this thing right now. I do not like JD Prescott. I think he is a fake. That's great news. Ready to go, right? Very funny, Brad. I totally agree with Political Spotlight and Bilberry on this one. JD Prescott is a worm. I do not trust him at all. So last week, JD Prescott, he's trying to do this whole property tax thing. Hold on, actually, let me check in the IGA, because he had a bill on it this last session. Where is he? Where's Prescott? Oh, maybe it's JD. There he is. He had a bill 26, yeah. Local government finance, I think. Is it this one? Yeah. Yep, here it is. The property tax bill. I want to go through this in tax for a masonry company. Who do you think would pay? Exactly. I would pay around $70,000 extra in tax for my masonry company. Who do you think would pay that? The customer. Yeah, that's exactly my argument. And also, so he naturally be in office for the rest of our life. Oh, dude, for real. He is in a very red district. He's not going anywhere. The best bet is to find somebody to primary him. He's all into the utility solar. Now he's trying to lame ass property tax bill that the boomers are eating up. And basically, this is what I got. This was from last year, mind you. And it would put a 7% sales tax on all services except for medical, education, and whatever exemptions there are. You know, every lobbyist is going to be out there trying to get an exemption for whoever they're representing. Not only that, but this does not help people that are in apartments or condos. This only helps for people that own a home. Now, listen, I understand. I don't want to talk about cutting taxes for 65 and older until we talk about actually cutting the bloat in government. Look, we're going to have like 3 months without a gas tax. Last I checked, we're doing just fine. All right. In fact, Braun said that we have plenty in reserves for that to happen. Then why don't we have a gas tax holiday every year for 1 month? Just saying, if we have so much in reserves, maybe that should be a thing where we get like a little break during the summer. Hey, are you guys going to go on a road trip during the summer? Guess what? For the month of July, you're not going to have to pay a gas tax. Go on and enjoy yourselves. Use that extra money to buy other stuff in Indiana, where that tax is going to go straight to the state anyway, or your local area. It's so easy of a sell, by the way, and people are going to be all about it. They be gooning as hard as whenever I see a picture of Max Engling. And so I think, I know that all the local areas are mad about it. Like, well, I want my money. Well, Braun said like 2 weeks ago that everybody will get their money. And then today he put out a news report or a press release saying all of you guys will get your money. It has to go through the proper channels, but you will get it. But anyway, so Prescott has this whole thing, but I have a tinfoil hat theory. And here it is. And I actually think it's very funny. So I looked through the lobbyist reports for JD Prescott for the last few years. And as you can see, he has been taken out by quite a few energy companies, including IPALCO, which is AES, Duke Energy, Indiana Michigan Power, Duke Energy multiple times, and then the Indiana Energy Association, which I heard has money donated from the co-ops. So my tinfoil hat theory is that JD Prescott is trying to help out data centers not pay property taxes. And it's like, oh, well, that would make sense, right? Because he is kind of a data center shill. Here's what's really funny. All the Democrats keep crying about how these tax incentives happened back in 2017. So I went and looked at that bill. Crap, I don't have the bill. Hold on. No, we're going to talk about that here in a bit. All right, right there. I looked up the bill. Hold on, let me look it up. I have it here, but it's in my secret spot. And you're not allowed to look at my secret spot real quick. I'm scheduling up a tweet. I'm just trying to find it right now. Oh, I don't have it? That's all right. I thought I had it. I don't have it? No, I had it saved though. No? No. Well, anyway, it was back in 2017 for the data center tax incentives. It's actually right here. This is from the IEDC portal right here about data center, and it says right there they are exempted for paying sales tax on qualified purchases like servers, wiring, that kind of stuff. Anything to do with the data center, they don't have to pay any they don't have to pay any sales tax. So you're telling me that not only will they not have to pay property tax, which is kind of the leverage that we all have right now, is like, hey, you guys don't have to pay shit. You don't have to pay sales tax on the things that you buy. You don't have to pay sales tax on the electricity that you use. You get property tax abatements too for X amount of time. And I think that's up to the local areas. And so JD Prescott, my tinfoil hat theory is that he's actually trying to help out these generation areas too. Because don't forget the massive amount of land that these generation sources are on, like natural gas or coal. They don't have to pay property taxes anymore. Kind of funny how they've all been meeting with JD Prescott, right? And so JD Prescott, he put out a post. It's right here. Right here. That's an interesting theory, but it's not accurate. This plan is designed to help Hoosier homeowners, farmers, and business owners who are tired of paying rent to the government every year just to keep their property. Data centers and other large commercial properties would also stop paying annual property taxes, like I said. But they would now pay the 7% sales tax on many services. According to that bill, they do not have to pay that. They're not going to get a free ride. We'll see. Okay, we'll see. Tim Ruschenberg, expanding sales tax to services is a must since our economy has changed, blah, blah, blah. By the way, I'm not buying any of this. I'm an attorney. I'm not a tech, and I have no desire to be one. As a small business owner, I have no infrastructure to add tax collection to my plate. My clients should not have to pay taxes on my services. And that's the thing, too. And John brought up a great point. Like, you're going to have to pay more in taxes, which means that will have to go to the customer, because the small business owner is not going to eat that up. That means everything will go up in price that you already buy. So how does this help out the people that rent, whether it's condos, whether it's apartments? This is more like, this reminds me a lot of boomer communism stuff, but we never talk about the waste that is in government. The IADC, the taxpayer-funded yoga classes, the taxpayer-funded fixing ventilation for a candy shop on the east side because it's in a food desert. Yes, I found a contract for that in the Indy.gov website. We always want to talk about taxes, but we never want to talk about efficient government, whether we're going to get hosed or not. So I'm going to eventually have that post on there. I'm surprised I don't have it now. Hold on. Is it on my Discord? That's where I've been storing everything. No, I don't. It's okay. Yeah, I don't know. Apparently not. All right. So you want to talk about the power of the Indie Reporter? Let's talk about it, boys and girls. Remember like a week or two ago when Indie Reporter had posted about Velvet Plum? It's a consignment shop over in Noblesville. And then it got huge numbers. Have no idea how. But now all the local news outlets are covering it. That's the power of Indie Reporter. That's the power of all of you, because none of this could be possible without you liking, sharing, and subscribing and telling all your friends about it. So Chris Jensen was spurting out on Twitter about it. And so Indie Reporter and Chris Jensen were going back and forth. And for some reason, he was pulling this feminine thing where totally femme-coded action of him retweeting the comment from Indie Reporter to his main page, like he was trying to run the conversation. It was like a massive tampon move. I'm not sure. The only people I've ever seen do that are highly feminine men or women, and I'm not sure. And since Chris Jensen is a feminine man, it kind of checks out. But anyway, Velvet Plum was interviewed and said like that is a slap in the face from the mayor. Saying like, hey, you know what? A lot of these other places they're adjusting because they're giving things away so they can get more people in the shop. Now, I did go into Noblesville last Saturday to walk around. Doesn't Spangle do that shit? Spangle doesn't even know how to wipe his ass. All right. He looks down and all he sees are toes. So I went over and walked in Noblesville, and it is a gigantic mess. Like, I can't believe this is not more of a priority. Construction crews should be working 24/7, or like on the weekend, it should be 12-hour, 14-hour crew days to try and get this done. This is a massive blow to downtown. Noblesville, any downtown, just like Fountain Square. I have my problems with Fountain Square too. Like, these are small businesses that have to have foot traffic to survive. So Velvet Plum, which is a consignment shop, so it's not like they can lower the price on anything. They are a building that people are trying to sell their stuff through Velvet Plum. So unless the person that has it under consignment are willing to lower their price or have like deals, nothing's going to change. But this has gotten huge over the last couple of days. It is mighty fascinating. Let's see. Moving on from there. Oh, yeah. Man, everybody freaked out about the Buc-ee's thing on Saturday. Whatever. Screw them. I don't give a shit. They're all burn in hell. All right. So you guys probably saw this. There's like a mayor's meeting that happened last week with all the that happened with all the mayors, but there was no media. And they're going to be having more meetings, and they're going to have like prosecutors and other people, but all the media is not allowed to be in there. I thought it was bullshit. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about that. Not going to talk about that. Yeah, you guys saw the Dan Elliott thing? Oh, yeah. You know who is loving this birthright citizenship stuff? This guy right here. I need to right some wrongs right now in the very near future. Yeah. Well, I mean, a live stream would be beneficial for people like me, even if you're not going to have media in there asking questions, but there should be an open conversation. We want to know what you're talking about because it feels like we're involved, right? You're supposed to be the leaders. You guys are all gathering together for this Illuminati meeting, but yet nobody's going to know what you're talking about. I don't like it at all. Yeah, there is zero transparency. So the person who's really liking this birthright citizenship is this guy right now. I won't say his name. But yeah, I have to right some wrongs of what I did helping people out with their candidacy earlier this year for the primary. So I'm going to have to help out the other person to right the wrong. Oh, we got time. I have to find it, but I remember watching this, and I think Ballard admitted to basically playing spoiler maker. I have to double check, but I need to look. Dude, Jesse Brown getting Scott Wienered right now. It's so damn funny. He is like I don't think he's gonna get kicked out of the DSA, but he's gonna be unendorsed and he's gonna be censored. It's so funny. And the same thing's happened with Scott Wiener right now. I think he had a bill that would not make it illegal to give somebody like herpes or an STD and knowingly do it. Like, if you know you have something and then you give it to somebody else knowingly, like, that's a crime. But Scott Wiener had a bill. I don't know if it passed or not. And I think there's also like raping children would have a lesser charge too. I'd have to double check on that, but it's something like that. But anyway, he's getting mocked. Yeah, this guy right here. Oh, here it is. Made it possible for a 24-year-old man with AIDS to rape a 14-year-old boy and intentionally pass HIV and not end up on a sex offender registry or be charged with a felony for passing a deadly disease. Then that same rapist can be identified as a woman and be transferred to a women's prison. That's Scott Wiener in a nutshell. And right now, because he said something about like Palestine and Israel, and the left didn't like it, so they're just going after him like crazy. You hate to see it. Okay, I'm not going to talk about the moose knuckle. All right, so I do want to talk about this briefly. So If you guys didn't watch the Saturday show, oh boy, you guys in for a treat. I heard about this like a couple of months ago, that there was a death at one of the data centers from an illegal dying, like an illegal immigrant, not birthright citizenship. And I heard they fell off the building and that like landed on their head, and then they had to go hide the body. So the AFL-CIO, they put out the body cam footage of that night in October in 2025 at Project Maze, which is in Michigan City. And I will not play spoil maker for you, but the video shows that the guy fell through the roof, and you can see it if you zoom in, which I do have a zoomed in thing, but I won't post it on here. You can do it yourself. It's like 4 minutes and 30 seconds in the middle, about the 8 o'clock position. You can see the guy fall through the roof, and the cop is like, "Oh shit!" and the guy with who was watching the security cameras like, "Hey, he's moving. Hey, he's moving." So there's that. But apparently, like a bunch of Mexicans came to his aid, wrapped his head in a shirt or whatever, and then took off. And as far as I know, nobody can find the body, but they're all saying that they're undocumented. In fact, the AFL-CIO, there was a filed copy to the IURC talking about the data center. And remember the thing about data centers, what we've all been marketed on, right? Hey, this is going to be construction jobs. Hey, this is going to be income. Think of all the jobs that are going to be coming. We're like, all right, but are these construction crews in state? Hey, are these construction jobs from people in the area? Because income tax doesn't mean crap if you're coming from Wyoming or wherever. So they put in this complaint that there were 3 main contractors, one of them from Wisconsin and 2 of them were Alabama. So not only are these jobs going to out of state, but you can't even collect any of the income tax. And top of that, they might be undocumented workers. You have illegals working on a data center, and you're not getting any benefit whatsoever. You're basically treating that area as a mining town. So they put out this whole thing. This is the video for it. It's on the Indie Reporter and the Facebook. I'll show you the document right here. So they're wanting to make safer changes. Project Maze, we construct for being a network of out-of-state contractors, including Phoenix Construction, Blyden, and Genius Roofing. Now, here's what's the weird part. They hired a security firm to monitor everything, but nobody could find for the roofing. I think they couldn't find the guy that was in charge of roofing. I forget how the hierarchy goes. John would be able to fill that in for me better. But you have to have somebody on site who's in charge, right? Like the general foreman or whatever. And they couldn't find him. So nobody knew what is going on. They were asking about security procedures too. It sounds like a massive CF. But man, I think the part that annoys me the most is the fact that these contractors are out of state. So there's literally no benefit from having this. Now, I will say there was a good point brought up on Saturday that these people are probably building the structure for it, dealing with the roofing. But when it comes to the electrical and the actual servers, they're going to be bringing in professionals. But you don't know how well those professionals are. Listen, there's a lot of H-1B workers out there, a lot of Indians, and they might just totally screw this whole thing up. Also, it is on their website for the local 150. And it's so funny. They have like the rat thing. Apparently, they put this in front of one of their buildings. Very funny stuff. Never underestimate the power of unions and them like gathering up quickly. And I'm not the biggest fan of unions, to be honest with you. I used to be in one, and I didn't like their structure because I was better than somebody else. But then they got a chance to upscale faster than me, so I left and went to the private sector. But it's not like back in the day where you're working 90 hours and you have child labor and like you're having a huff and asbestos. It's not like that anymore. So I don't know. Unions are just basically mafioso stuff. All right, moving on. We're gonna finish off with this because if you guys get a chance, I would love for Lucy to talk about this. I want Based Breton to talk about this whole Raise US because this is going to be a scam. This is going to be a big deal in the very near future. So guess what, boys and girls? Eric Holcomb is back. That's right. He's with the former Secretary of Commerce, Gina Raimondo, to launch a new AI workforce initiative built around retaining workers displaced by AI. Hey, guess what? You got fired because you were replaced by a robot? Don't you worry. We're going to teach you how to do AI stuff because maybe you'll be able to fight back. But most importantly, we need tax cattle. Hey, getting you fired is really not a benefit to us because that means you're not giving the government money. So what we're going to do is we're going to teach you about AI so we can give you a shitty job that you don't like. But guess what? You need to put food on the table, right? So come on over. We're going to make you a piece of cow meat. Now, what's really funny about this there is that Raise US has already raised up like $500 million already off of like a multiple of companies. Now, these companies include like Amazon, OpenAI, Eli Lilly was one of them. If you guys remember that post on Facebook the other day of the Eli Lilly stock jumping up like an extra $80 a share, that was right around the time. This was basically right after this was announced. I don't know where they're at right now, but I did think it was funny. So here's what's going to get really interesting. They're going to be treated as the middleman of, hey, we know what the structure is, so give us money, and then we'll be able to teach you these programs. But I watched this entire 12-minute. Yeah, Paul Ryan is on the board. Yeah, exactly. Dude, it goes even. Yeah, the Business Insider. Good job by Steve on this one. Dude, it is the who's of assholes on this thing. These are like professional grifters, professional scabs that are just looking for their next thing. Yeah, very WEF. Listen, if all the assholes from the World Economic Forum got together, this is what they would come up with. Not only are we getting data centers built by illegals from out of state and out of country, but now to just get people fired, but now we're going to have possibly taxpayer-funded money go to these people to show you how to do a new job because you got fired from being replaced from these data centers with the AI. You like how I did that? Not bad, huh? All right. IBJ actually had a pretty good article because there's only 4 states that are involved with it right now. Indiana is not one of them. I think it's Utah, West Virginia. If this website would load, there it is. What is it? Arkansas, Connecticut, Maryland, and Utah. Those are the only 4 that are involved with it right now. I imagine there will be more in the very near future. Eli has signed off as an effort, including Amazon, Anthropic, Microsoft, and the OpenAI Foundation. They've already raised $500 million, and their goal is $1 billion. Now, what's cool about this is Hannah News actually had a pretty decent section of this talking about it. And this is where it convinced me. I already knew it was a scam, but I was like, what's the actual play here? The organization will work toward leveraging private and philanthropic capital to scale what's most effective and measure success by whether workers land and keep jobs. Raise US launches with more than 24, blah, blah, blah. They plan to design and pilot new corporate incentives to retrain and redeploy workers. So they are going to be like the middleman, the game plan people, basically. Give us money and we'll show you how to implement this whole thing. The $500 million is a wild number. I don't know what you need this. I think this is going to create another bubble, another jerk-off bubble, just like the data centers are, and then building them as well. It is very interesting. I cannot wait to see this thing fail, and then you get to come back and say, well, Whitty was right again. Let me make sure before I go into the last thing. Bo buys a dope. His website blows. Jesse actually had a really good point. Nowhere on his website does it show it being a Democrat. Now real quick. What the hell is this guy's name? Mitch. Oh no, Goodrich. Chuck Goodrich is the new Secretary of Commerce. He's the CEO of Gaylor. And guess what? Gaylor does a lot of data centers. Shocker, right? Oh yeah, this was the other part I want to talk about. So there has been a new thing happening in the last 2 years about this workforce development coming out of high school. Now, I remember there was an amendment to SB 254 that requires the IEDC to create a public education to employment data system. They're trying to create a pipeline of tax cattle from high school to workforce. And so workforce, economic development, and funding decisions are driven by measurable outcomes. Is our money going to things that are properly working? Now, Banning mentions a philanthropic support an amendment. Delaney questioned about it. Banning refused to say who it was, but I think it has to do with something with Amazon, because Banning was shilling over the Amazon headquarters in Virginia. It looks less like an education bill and more like an economic development tool modeled after Virginia's Amazon playbook. Now, if I remember right, Amazon's playbook was about that exactly, trying to get more workers for Amazon, build data centers too. There was like this new initiative I saw not long ago about doing that. Hey, I think it was Amazon that was teaming up with like Mike Rowe, and they were wanting to have a school to pipeline for construction workers to build more data centers. Basically build choose your destroyer, as they say in Ghostbusters. But one last thing I want to talk about before we finish this off. There is a whole thing about, there is a lobby on pardons. I'm sure you guys saw this on Facebook or Twitter about it. Now, Marty Obst, who runs MO Strategies, I saw Hannah News talk about this last week, and so I found the actual article and I found the video from Gabe Kaminsky talking about this, about, hey, we're going to team up with Marty Obst and MO Strategies. We're going to find out what pardons probably has the highest chance of winning a pardon, and and like what the procedure is too of getting that. It's like, all right, you want a pardon? Well, this is the path of it happening. Oh, okay, so what do we have to do? We have to pick the proper pardon so we know that Trump is actually going to pardon. So the White House comes out, I think Caroline Leavitt, calling it detestable that anyone even attempt to profit off pardons, and that the administration has a rigorous review process. Listen, Caroline, we all know that's bullshit, okay? We all know it's pay to play, every political thing. Just admit to it. Stop peeing on my leg and tell me that it's raining, all right? Only Moed does that kind of stuff. And I'm not Moed. All right, so that's what I got for today. A lot of stuff going on. And you know I'm going to be keeping an eye on the Ballard stuff. Look for the J.D. Prescott post. Look for the Ballard post. Go back. I also have some posts because Mike Braun was on Hammer and Nigel with Jerry Lopez, Indy Spanglish today. They talked about the Bears. They talked about the gas tax. So get ready for those posts probably tonight. One of them tonight, one of them tomorrow. And then, I need to take some time off. I really need to take some time off. I'm getting so doomer pilled and annoyed by everybody, especially the libertarians and like neocon fat pieces of shit like Chris Spangle, where I'm just going to I'm going to find a one-way ticket and I'm going to deport you, a one-way ticket to the Congo, and we're going to deport you. That's kind of my dream right now. So they can all be. That would be my dream. All right. So with that being said, you guys have a good night. Make sure you tune in to Mouthwash too. They're going to have Democrat delegates. Honestly, I don't know who's going to be on there as a Democrat delegate, but hop on there anyway. Spangle and Lundy look like, dude, for real, they do. They look related. There is like a physiognomy of like dipshittery and douchebaggery, and like Lundy and Spangle fit the bill. Like whenever I think of a total ass clown, I think of Chris Spangle and Lundy. They need to be deported to the Congo. All right. At minimum, Liberia. Yeah, almost Peter Griffin. Yeah, Timu Griffin. All right. Anyway, you guys have a good night. Stay safe, stay warm, stay cool. Be me because I'm awesome, and I get fat clowns to delete their posts after I hop in their chats. Love you guys. Bye.